call it the Midas touch, and you wouldn't be wrong. Let us record, produce, mix, and master your audio like nobody does. Reach us on our contact today for the best quality job.
What keeps the heartbeat of a community alive? Is it the courage to create, the power to connect, the vision to transform? Well, it's all of this and more. It's a symphony of ideas, innovation, and industry. But where do these stories come alive? It's right here on The Isle, 104.9 FM, the station where dreams meet action and growth finds its voice. The Isle, 104.9. Business, economy, development. Stay tuned.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Well, Supporters Club had been there for 66 years when it was founded officially, but those who funded it were just doing it for the fun. We just come to the field, drum, sing, and go. Nobody gave them any recognition. But I joined them in the year 1977. Well, I paid 2 naira to join. And how did I join? It was because of an incident that happened at the National Stadium. The Shooting Stars of Ibadan and the Bendel Insurance of Benin were playing the semi-final of the FA competition that year. And I had to go to enter the stadium. I paid 4 naira to watch the game. But while entering the stadium, the whole place was filled. And when I got inside, there was no place for me to sit down. So many of us were standing out there, people outside the gate of the stadium. There were more than the people right inside. So as at a point in time, while standing, some people just took me off ground and threw me into the crowd. And I started rolling until I landed on the culvert, concrete. Concrete slab. Before I knew it, over 50 people were on my top. and I could no longer breathe. So to me that day, it appeared I was going to die. But through the grace of God, I was able to wriggle out myself of that position. And the man directly on top of me had to leave, because what I did was by biting him, and I had to struggle to go under the concrete slab. And I was right there for the first half of the game, 45 minutes. I was right there under the concrete slab. I couldn't watch the game. It was the breeze that was coming from the outer part of the stadium that saved the situation. After the first half, you know, people will get up to go to the toilets, to go and buy drinks and meet their friends. I had the opportunity of coming out, and a good Samaritan gave me a small place to sit. Even at that, I was very unconscious. I was not comfortable. But the game ended. It was a drawn game. When the game ended, everybody left the stadium, but because I wasn't very comfortable, I had to wait in the stadium for like an hour and a half before I left. So when I left and I got home, 9 p.m. network news, breaking news. 32 people died in the stadium that day. And that, the thought came to me. I probably could have been one of them. But I thank God. That was what informed my decision to say, I will not go to the stadium again until I have the best way to go into the stadium without being killed, maimed, or injured. And I decided to move with those people, and I joined them. But then we were just doing it. Maybe 20 of us, 15, 30 of us, we meet under the trees of the National Stadium, and we go home. And since that period, immediately I became a member. I introduced what they call flag bearing. When from 1977 to 1990, every Nigerian team that came out of the tunnel or goes out there outside Nigeria to play, you will see the Nigerian green, white, green flag being carried by one person. It's me. I did that flag bearing for 13 whole years. Whenever the team is played, I will be there with them, whether it's the Super Eagles, the under 20, the under 23, the Falcons, and the rest, all our national teams. Even our club sides going out to play Continental. When you see the green, white, green of Nigeria, I used to be the one carrying that flag. So I was with them, and I rose within the ranks from being an assistant secretary to becoming the national secretary and also the chairman of the disciplinary panel of the Nigerian Football Supporters Club. And by 1990, I was voted to be the chairman. That was when the thoughts of registering the club came. So when you hear that the Nigerian Football Supporters Club founder, officially because of its registration, I did the registration. Registering the club, I moved it from Lagos to Ibadan, Oyo State. I'm an Ibadan man. Charity begins at home, they say. So I went to Ibadan. From Ibadan, I moved to Bauchi. I moved to Abuja, Kano, Port Harcourt, all the states of the Federation. By 1992, I went to Cote d'Ivoire in Abidjan precisely, to launch the supporters club. I went there physically, bringing the Nigerians together, those living in Abidjan. I formed the supporters club and launched it officially. I left that place, I went to Ghana. I launched it in Ghana. Leaving Ghana, I went to Gambia. I went to Burkina Faso. I went to Mali. I went to Republic of Benin. I went to Togo. I went to all the countries of Africa, putting the supporters club in place in those countries. By 1995, I moved to the United States of America. I launched the supporters club at the Giant Sports Stadium in New Jersey in 1995. After that, I went to France in 1997 to launch the supporters club in France in 1997, because we were already thinking of going to France to play in the World Cup. And if the Super Eagles will not have enough supporters there, what will happen to them? Don't forget that I led the supporters club to the United States of America for the very first time we played in the World Cup in 1994. I was at the Copa America in 1995. That was when I had the opportunity of launching the supporters club in America. In 1996, I led the supporters club to Atlanta in 96. And the winning of the trophy, the gold in football event, made possible by the supporters club, support of the supporters club. Because when you listen, when that match, you remember that we played a match with Brazil in the preliminary stage, and we lost 1-0. But we had the opportunity again to meet them during the semi-final. And during the semi-final, Brazil had given us 3 goals. We were trailing 1-3 at the interval. And when the second half came up, we were given a penalty, I think 25 minutes to the end of the game. One of our players, I don't want to mention the name, but he knows, he lost that penalty kick. That was when God told me, sing this song. It's a miracle working God. It's a miracle working God. He's the Alpha and Omega. He's a miracle working God. Of course, my members chorused. Indeed, miracle came. We scored the second goal. And the then Minister of Sports, Chief Jim Nwobodo, came to our stand and said, let it go. I heard you guys singing, it's a miracle working God. It's like God is going to make a miracle to happen today. I said, yes. And we continued. I changed the song. I have a Father who never fails. I have a Father who never fails. I have a Father who never fails. Who never fails. Who never fails. Forevermore. Amen. Jesus never failed. Amen. Jesus never failed. Amen. Jesus never failed. Jesus never failed. Jesus never failed. Forevermore. We scored the third goal. Then another song came. Boya chukuna gaza. Boya chukuna gaza mere. Messiah yobiuma. Boya chukuna gaza. The match ended and there was to be the extra time. And that time it was a sudden death rule. Immediately I sang that song, my people chorused. And the ball was coming to Kanun Wakwo. He was backing the goalkeeper. Tested the ball, raised it up, turned around and tapped it to the net. And that was the 4 goals the Nigerian team scored against Brazil. And they started crying. And I decided to form another song. When Nigeria beat Brazil, when Nigeria beat Brazil, oh, Bebeto start to cry. When Nigeria beat Brazil, why Bebeto? Because they pulled him out. They were thinking they were reserving him because they thought they would meet Argentina in the final. Unknowingly to them, that they will be beaten, they don't know. So I did that song, and we sailed into the final, meeting Argentina in the final. And that again happened. Argentina was leading us 2-1. But we came from 1-2 to beat them 3-2. Yeah, to answer your question, I did that to tell you what the supporters club is to the team. And what this man felt by registering the club is that I have that belief. And it is general. Everybody must have it. That this is Nigeria, it's our country. We have to do something by giving it a positive image, whether in Nigeria or outside. You do know that all of us cannot be Mr. President of Nigeria. All of us cannot be governors, and not all of us will be members of the National Assembly. But all of us as Nigerians have special roles to play in giving our country a befitting and positive image. That is the reason why this man has been following football supportership all the time to date. Well, I want to tell you, like I said earlier on, the grace of God has been the secret. The other secret is that my members, I get them reoriented to believe in my vision. All of them supports what I was doing. They all love this country. They want to contribute their own to the good name of Nigeria. That has been the secret. And don't forget, any member of the supporters club should be referred to as a patriot par excellence, because they are not paid. They are not given any allowance. They use their time, their money, even at the risk of their lives, to support the cause of Nigeria through supportership. Well, majorly, it is funding. The challenges is funding, because if you have to support the team, yes, they are playing in Lagos, you may not spend much money. But when they are playing in Enugu, they are playing in Uyo, they are playing in Abuja, you need money, no matter how. But come to think of you traveling with 100, 200, 300, 600 supporters outside Nigeria. They will not go by road. They will go by air. It's a lot of money that we need in running the supporters club. So our main challenges has been that of funding. But I can assure you that God has been good to us. We have had some philanthropists, some organizations who have come to assist us by way of supporting us, giving us a lot of money. And if you will not mind, I will have to put it on record that the very first company that supported Supporters Club was Coca-Cola. Coca-Cola did it for 2 years. They could no longer do it. Then, for 1 year, MTN did it. They could no longer sustain it. Well, later we got Globacom. Dr. Mike Adenuga Jr. has been the brain, the backbone, the sponsor, and the financier of the supporters club for several years, doling out millions from 50 to 60 to 100 million of naira, and even in dollars. So that has been the way, that has been how we have been able to surmount it. We have some philanthropists. We have Taiwo Afolabi, who has always supported us whenever we are going out. I remember Alhaji Aliko Dangote in 1996. He supported us, and some other Nigerians too. Esther Ajayi, when we were going to Russia, 2018, I went to this woman, and I told her our problems. The second day, she was able to give us 20 million. I went to meet the then governor of Lagos State, His Excellency Governor Ambode. He gave me 10 million. The club, not me per se, he gave the club. And when we were going to Brazil in 2014, that was the very first time any government supported us. We went to Brazil. Before going, I visited the then president, Dr. Goodluck Ebele Jonathan. After decorating him as our patron, he pronounced a 50 million naira grant for us to go to Brazil. Actually, we were going to request from him a whole plane to take us there because we were going for a national assignment. Supporters Club is a selfless service. But the president gave us 50 million. I mean, Goodluck Jonathan. But we ended up spending 189 million. The difference of that was raised by me going to Dr. Mike Adenuga, Taiwo Afolabi, Esther Ajayi, Ambode, and the rest. That's how we've been running the club. We've been running the club, meeting people who lost the game of football, who lost Nigeria, and they have been helping us. Well, very, very unfortunate. It's a story I hate to be talking about all the time because I've said many things about it more than 100 times. Supporters Club had been there for several years. And Dr. Rafiu Ladipo was the national chairman for just 10 years, from 1990 to 2000. I left that position in 2000. And then somebody else became the national chairman. And that was Alhaji Waide Anderile Yusuf, who was the chairman for 8 good years. After him, there was Otumba Olatunde Bashonu. He was there for 4 years. And there came a time when one Mr. Vincent Okumagba acted in that capacity for 3.5 years. And there was one little misunderstanding, because people will not want to wait for their time. And all I told them is, please, go through an election. Anybody who would not want to go through an election is not supposed to be on that chair of the national chairman. That's what came up. And the then NFF believed that there could be 20 arms of supporters clubs in Nigeria. It could even run to 100 units. But it's unhealthy. You cannot have a situation where your team is playing right on the field and you have different corners where you have the Nigerian supporters scattered all over the field, singing in different voices. It's not good. But look, I've been able to manage it because God has told me that supporters must not die. Supporters Club will not die. I have to be patient to let them see reasons why the Supporters Club should go and support the teams with unity. As a unit, go and support the team. But if you have funded your own, maybe you have registered your own, You have your own office. You can stay in your office. Manage your office the way you want to manage it. But when it becomes a national assignment, you are going out to represent Nigeria. All of us as supporters must come together to support Nigeria as a group supporting one team. Not when you have some people in angle 90, some people in angle 180, some people in angle 360, some people in angle 60, supporting one team. It does not augur well. There's nothing you are going to achieve from this. I remember when we were in Russia, and my members have gone in. I normally wait for all of them to go in before I will finally go in. So when I was going in as the last person, I entered the stadium, and I saw them, some people up there, I saw some people on the left, I saw some people on the right. And when I was going to meet the band boys, some of their security men came to me, I'm in Russia, and asked me where I was going. I said I was going to meet my people. They said I should bring their ticket, my ticket. And when they saw the ticket, no, you can't go there, go there. That place is not yours. Your seat is downstairs there. How do I coordinate the activities of my members? This is what we've been telling them. Supporters Club must be united. They must come together, sing together, cheer the team together, and let us have a befitting result. When the referee and all the match officials see a group of people, even if you are 200 or 300, converging in one special place together, in your uniforms, in your green and white, and you are singing, they know you have come to support your team. So it takes them every reason to want to do the game better. Well, when you are not there, in a capacity crowd of 90,000, we had 5 supporters here, 2 there, 7 there. When the Argentines were about 87,000 in the field, singing for their team. So I believe that the Supporters Club must be together. I've been able to manage it now, up to now. The national chairman of the Supporters Club, as we speak, is Reverend Samuel Ikpeya. He coordinates the activities of the Supporters Club in Nigeria. While worldwide, I'm the President General because we have Supporters Club in all the other countries of the world. And when we come together, there must be one person. There must be the head. We have the president of the Supporters Club in Côte d'Ivoire. We have the chairman of the Supporters Club in UK. In all Francophone countries, the head of the Supporters Club is called president. In Anglophone countries, the head of Supporters Club is addressed as Mr. Chairman. So the President General is not just what we just came out with. It's because there's a need for it. That's why the President General worldwide comes up. Well, I have told you a lot of people don't want to wait for their time. And when you don't wait for your time, what do you lose? You lose much. There was going to be an election. And I called all of them, go and pick your nomination papers for the election. But some of them will not want to because they want appointments. And I don't believe in appointments because we have a constitution in the Supporters Club that says everybody and anybody who wants to be an officer must contest for election. I insisted that there must be an election. Some people would not want an election because they know, probably they believe they cannot win. They decided to say, oh, let's go our way because we don't want election. That's it. Before now, up to about 8 years, 10 years ago, the Super Eagles were really super. But in the last 8 years, we have not been there. We have not been doing well. Don't forget that in 1994, Nigeria's team, the Super Eagles, were judged to be the 5th best in the world. What is our ranking now? 37th in the world. Even in Africa, what is our ranking? So the Eagles of the last 8, 9 years ago, no, they have not done well at all. I want anybody to tell me, what did we win in the last 8, 9 years? Don't forget that in 1980, we won the Cup of Nations right here at the National Stadium. In 1994, we were in Tunisia. We won it. In 2013, we were in South Africa. We won the Cup of Nations. In 1996, we won the Atlanta Olympics. Since then, what can we point to that we have won? So the Eagles of the last 8, 9 years, no. They did their best, but their best was not good enough for Nigeria. And that's why we didn't win nothing. But I want to believe that the present crop of Eagles being put together now, going for the Cup of Nations, we want to write their names in gold. And if that is so, it means they have to put in their best to see that going to Côte d'Ivoire 2024 will not just be going there to make a number. We're going there to give a very good account of ourselves. Who says it is not possible for Nigeria to win the Cup of Nations again? It is possible, but it takes a determined group of people as players who wants to write their names in gold to do that. When you are rating the coach, a coach is as good as his last match. Passero was employed, he was given a target, and the NFF has the power to either sack or renew his contract. I think according to them, maybe he has performed according to what they want. But for me, as a Nigerian, I want Passero to go to Côte d'Ivoire and show us that he is serious and show us that the Super Eagles can still fly and make us get minimally play in the semi-final of the Cup of Nations. Anything short of that, no. Well, I want to believe that our Nigerian coaches are good. There have been 2 or 3 foreign coaches that have done well. Westhoff, Bonfrejo, and this which doctor, what's his name again? I'll remember his name. This guy qualified us to play in the World Cup with a match to go. The witch doctor. The witch coach, we call him, we remember it now, it will come back. So, since then, there's no foreign coach that has done better. I was one of the people that went to London to recruit this man I'm talking about. When we recruited him, he came to Nigeria, and he made us to qualify for the World Cup with a match still to go. Philippe Trouzet. I was there in England where we interviewed him. Well, since then, it has been one coach coming to take our money, not giving a very good account of us, of himself. But the Nigerian coaches, let's also praise some of them. Some of them. The late Shuaibu Ahmadu qualified us to play in the World Cup, even though he did not take us there. The late Stephen Keshi also made us to win the Cup of Nations of 2013 in South Africa. So if that happens, who says the Nigerian coaches are not good? Some Nigerian coaches have proved themselves, but they still need to do more. But these 2 coaches, exceptional. That is the real reason, the real controversy we're having between the NFF and the coaches. You don't hire a coach if you know you cannot pay his wages. You must be ready to pay his salary as at when due. There's no coach who will labor and labor, and after which he would have trained your players, and you are owing him salaries of 5 months, 7 months. Which coach will take that? Where is that happening across the world? Nobody will accept that. So that has to be looked into. And that is why the NFF has got to look for serious sponsors and raise funds for them to be self-sufficient, to be able to take all these challenges of paying the coaches' wages. That is a big problem. And I think the present NFF board, led by Ibrahim Guzo, will look into that, look for sponsors, serious sponsors who are interested, not just interested, but who are genuinely interested in the Nigerian game and in the Nigerian nation. You may be interested in the Nigerian game, but if you are not interested in the Nigerian game, Nigerian nation, you may not give what it takes to do. You must have the love of this country at heart, and then love the game also. In the last 15, 10, 8 years, our boxing went down. In the last 5 years to today, our boxing has come up. I am the president of the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control, and I confirm to you that every week now, we have a boxing championship. We had one last week. Tomorrow, we will have one in Abuja. When I come back the following week, there's another one. We have promoters now promoting our boxing events. And our boxers are now earning big money, other than what they were earning before. In those days, they were earning 20,000, 30,000. They go on the ring, they hit them, they shed blood, and they sweat. What do they earn? But since the last 3, 4 years, our boxers have been earning big money, some of them earning millions, some of them traveling abroad to earn $5,000, $10,000. And that is made possible because we have a group of people in the Nigerian Boxing Board of Control who respects each other, who respect the boxers, who respects the coaches, and who respects the promoters. Take, for instance, I'm sorry to mention, GoTV. GoTV night every day, they've had about 29 GoTV sessions. You know what that means? GoTV for every boxing fight. They don't spend less than 20 million. They even spend more. And our boxing now is being watched all over the world, if not just Africa. A lot of things have been said about this. We have sent memos, we have sent advice, we have met with the people in charge severally. I've had to write to both the Minister of Sports, the National Assembly, and the rest. How can we develop our sports? It's very important. Without grassroots development, you won't be there. As a matter of fact, Kanu Nwankwo happens to be a product of the Nigerian League. J.J. Okocha, product of Nigerian League. Finidi George, Emmanuel Amunike, and all of them played in the Nigerian League. How many of our Super Eagles players, those that are playing for us now, do you see what developed here? Maybe you have 2 or 3 home-based players playing. But the real product for our football development, they are here in Nigeria. We have to go back to those things we were doing that time when we got the likes of the Segun Odegbami. Henry Nwosu, Christian Chuku, down to what is it, Stephen Keshi, Okocha, and the rest. We have to go back. We don't have to rely on those players who have been serving us in the last 12, 15 years, believing that they will continue to serve us the same way. No matter what you do, players will get weak. They will age. And when they are aging, that's when they start referring to them as tiring legs. You need replacements for them. How do you get that? You can only get them from the local scenes. We have various clubs in Nigeria playing the leagues, the Premiership, the National League, and the rest. 20 teams in one. Do you know how many of our boys out there that can play football if we harness them, bring them together, and give them the right training? Of course, let me ask you, how many of our club sites have feeder teams? Feeder teams, they are very important to the development of the game. When you have a junior player playing the feeder team and is maturing, bring him to replace a tiring leg. In the senior team, how many of those teams that we have can boast of feeder teams? How many of them can boast of their own fields? Perhaps we have about 3 clubs that are privately owned. But others are owned by governments, state governments. And state governments, what do they use them for? For political gains. And if it is political gains, well, it's off it. Let's do football like it is done elsewhere. Football is big business. People are making billions of dollars in football. Nigeria can do same. If we do same, we will take off all this nonsense. The boys going about doing a lot of violence, going to do yahoo, going to do kidnapping and the rest. You will have all of them looking forward to becoming millionaires and billionaires in future. And of course, becoming employers of labor apart from fending for their families. Above 50 football. Yeah, it's above 50. I'm the chairman worldwide for that. And my president is Ambassador Edward Olutoke, who has given his support, his finances to be able to do this game. The thing is this: if you have played football, you have played up to the level that you are about 40, and you are no longer playing, you are no longer doing what you know how best to do, you now go and sit down, not doing nothing. Boredom sets in. And within that period, rather than getting fit, you are aging. Some of them developing sickness, various sicknesses that they ought not to have. But because they were no longer doing what they know how best to do, they sit down. So the concept is bringing them back. Not just the footballers, but anybody above 50 could play football, keeping fit, and above all, living a standard life, making money. There's a way, we have one thing we are developing with the above 50 concept for you to make money. Anybody who is above 50 and has no car of ease or no house of ease or a home has not been living standard. So above 50 concept is not just to play football alone, but to help you to keep fit, to keep you healthy, and make you to live standard life and make money. That is what we are doing. And as I speak with you, Brazil has embraced it. Mexico has written to us that they will want to play with us. The last competition we had 8 clubs: Ajegule, Surulere, Redeem, Itiraikate, Abeokuta, all of them, they came to play at the National Stadium. And the prize, the winner's prize was 5 million, which was paid instantly. The second place was 2 million, while the top place was 1 million. And we put a lot of money in organizing that. We are going to start the second edition very soon. We're now having clubs from Benin, Edo, where people from Abuja, people from Kwara registering to be part of the above 50 football. How much do they put into sports? What you have in sport is noise. How much money do they put into sports? They need more money to run sports, particularly the development of the sports, not just taking part in competitions. Because if you have to develop sports, it takes a lot of money. And all those successful countries doing sports, it's because they have put money into its development. So government has got to put more money into the development of sports. Fantastic women. They've done us proud severally, having been champions of Africa for 9 times. I don't think any country in Africa can boast of that. But beyond that, we should also realize that these ladies, they are getting old. Some of them are 40, 38, 36, down the ladder. You need replacements for them. That's where we're asking that we should put more money. We should put more focus in the development of sports, both male and female. I think with what the female national team has done for Nigeria, we owe it a duty to put more money into the development of female football. I'm not thinking about that. If I want to, I would have been in politics, party politics. I would have been there, and by now I think I would have been something else. But no, I chose to be part of giving an image to Nigeria, a good image, positive one. Take, for instance, if you go out of the country, you get to the entry point of any country, and you speak of our sports. They give you a wide latitude for you to go in. Well, you say when you get there, you speak sports. They ask you, where's Kanu? Where's Okocha? Where's Finidi? Where's Amokachi? That means they recognize Nigeria sports. In fact, that's the only thing we can be proud of right now. Every other thing we talk in diversities. But when it comes to sports, every one of us were together. If the Nigerian team is playing and a Christian has to pray, and he say, I pray that the Super Eagles wins today's match, in Jesus' name I pray. Even the Muslim will say amen. So together in sports, where in this country, football and sports is a leveler, particularly football. Football unites not just the states, it unites the country, it unites the countries of the world. So I believe we can do much more in promoting and supporting our sports so that we get the best benefits, as we say. First and foremost, I want to use this opportunity once again to congratulate him on his appointment. I've met him twice now, and I'm going to meet him soon again. And why am I going to meet him is to advise him on what I think from my own views and from what I've seen to improve sports. First, we have talked about it. The development of sports is key, not just the taking part in competitions. Because if you are not developing sports, you are only taking in competition. If you don't win, what happens? But if you develop sports, 1, you are helping the youth. 2, you are helping the nation. 3, you are growing the economy. And thirdly, you are removing restiveness and restlessness of the youth in the society. I want us to advise the minister to key into the development of sports from the grassroots. Let's go back to the schools. Let's go back to the rural areas. Football is played everywhere. Go under the bridges, you see people playing football. Let the minister put in place, through the NFM, a consortium of coaches that will go to these schools, that will go to these corners. Everywhere in Nigeria, you have talents that can be helped, sponsored, and nurtured to stardom. Once we do that, our sports will improve. And let the minister put his feet there on ground and say, every club that is playing in the Premiership and the National League must have their feeder teams, must have their own fields and other infrastructures to make them develop sports. Thank you very much. I want to pray for this organization to continue to thrive, to continue to blossom in making money, because without money, this kind of things that I hear cannot be sustained. So God will grow you the more, and your business will continue to flourish.
Trafalgar Square, established in 1844, is a symbol of British naval history and a popular cultural spot in London. Named after the 1805 Battle of Trafalgar, it has been the site of celebrations, protests, and cultural events, representing the changing identity of the city. It houses several landmarks, like the Nelson Column, St. Martin in the Fields Church, and the National Gallery. The Nelson's Column, a tribute to a naval hero, is the main feature of Trafalgar Square. Standing 52 meters tall, completed in 1843, it honors Admiral Horatio Nelson's victory at Trafalgar. The column is topped with a statue of Nelson, and 4 bronze panels at its base show scenes from his battles. Surrounding it are 4 large bronze lions added in 1867, symbolizing British power.
Iconic part of British culture, not just in its look, but this is very much the sort of centre of London. You know, whenever there's a celebration, a protest, it's a public space that's very important for a lot of not just people that live in London, but for the UK. You know, it's a place where people would congregate. You know, I remember being here all around the 25 Olympics, but it was very much one of the centerpieces of British iconic culture. Yeah, no, you used to be able to climb on the lions when I was younger, but you can't do anymore. So there you go, that's progress for you.
St. Martin's in the Fields Church, reputed as an architectural gem, was built between 1722 and 1726. It is known for its neoclassical design by architect James Gibbs, and is famous for its portico and steeple, and has influenced architecture worldwide. The church also a rich musical history, hosting concerts and helping the homeless.
Yeah, I actually came to London just on a little day trip, and then I remembered that this church sometimes has classical music on, so I just popped in, and there's no concert, but there were some people practicing. So there's a quartet of violins, and they made some lovely, sort of practice for some classical concerts. So I really enjoyed just sitting there for 10 minutes, listening to it. It's lovely, it's a really nice church, and it's nice that people don't do music much time. So maybe we should have a nice coffee as well.
The National Gallery, founded in 1824, is a treasure trove of art, Located on the north side of Trafalgar Square, it houses over 2,300 artworks from the 13th to 20th century with free public access to masterpieces from major European artists.
I'm not really sure. I haven't been through the museum yet, but I'm here for a Christian heritage tour to kind of learn more about the history of the Protestant Reformation in England and Christian history here in England through the paintings that are in the gallery. So that's what I'm here for today.
Trafalgar Square blends Britain's naval history with modern art and culture. It remains an important public space, attracting millions of visitors each year to experience London's rich heritage and vibrant atmosphere. Chike Okolo, reporting for Souq News.
The Trump administration has once again thrust U.S. immigration policy into the global spotlight with the recent announcement of a new voluntary self-deportation program that offers a $1,000 stipend to undocumented immigrants who agree to leave the country on their own. This incentive-based strategy is a calculated shift from the traditional, more aggressive deportation measures and is already stirring debate among policymakers, immigration advocates, and the public alike. The program, introduced in early May 2025, is being implemented by the U.S. Department of Homeland Security. It allows undocumented migrants to register for voluntary departure using the CBP-1 app, after which they will receive a government-funded flight and a $1,000 stipend upon confirmation of their exit. Homeland Security officials argue that this move is designed to save taxpayers significant amounts of money. According to data provided by the DHS, a forced deportation process costs the government an average of $17,121 per individual. In contrast, the stipend program is seen as a cost-effective alternative that also reduces the strain on overcrowded detention centers and court dockets. This new measure is a part of a broader, intensified effort by the Trump administration to curb illegal immigration and tighten control over the U.S. southern border. Since returning to power, President Trump has reinstated several policies from his first term, while introducing new ones aimed at deterring undocumented migrants. Deportation numbers have surged, with nearly 66,000 individuals removed from the U.S. within the first 100 days of his new term. Family detention centers, once heavily criticized for their impact on children, have been brought back into operation, while legal aid for unaccompanied minors have seen severe cuts. These developments come at a time when the United States is experiencing a historic high in its foreign-born population. As of 2023, nearly 47.8 million immigrants were residing in the U.S., with an estimated 11 million of them undocumented. Many of these individuals have lived in the country for over a decade, raising families and contributing to the economy. Immigrants, regardless of status, are a vital part of the U.S. labor force, contributing billions in taxes and significantly shaping industries such as agriculture, construction, and caregiving. Critics of the $1,000 self-deportation offer argue that the program may oversimplify the complex reasons behind undocumented migration. Many of those targeted by the program have deep roots in the U.S., including U.S.-born children, community ties, and long-term employment. Human rights organizations warn that such policies, while less aggressive on the surface, may pressure vulnerable individuals into making life-altering decisions without legal representation or full knowledge of their rights. There are also concerns about the ethical implications of offering monetary incentives for departure, particularly in cases involving asylum seekers or those fleeing violence. From a strategic standpoint, the administration insists that this approach is a practical way to reduce the migrant population without resorting to mass raids or extended detentions. Supporters say it offers dignity and a choice to undocumented migrants while protecting national interests. However, immigration experts question the actual effectiveness of the program, noting that similar efforts in the past have yielded limited results. The offer of $1,000 may not be enough to motivate individuals who have risked everything to seek better lives in the United States. The debate around this policy underscores the broader tensions within American immigration discourse, balancing border control and national sovereignty among humanitarian obligations and economic realities. With the 2026 midterm elections approaching, immigration remains one of the most polarizing and politically charged issues on the national agenda. In the wider global context, policies like this could set a precedent as other countries monitor the US approach, especially those in Europe and parts of Africa facing rising migration numbers. Questions around voluntary migration, incentives, and state-led deportation policies are likely to spark wider international debates. What remains clear is that the Trump administration's latest move is not just a domestic policy. It is a bold, controversial experiment in reshaping the global migration conversation. I am Moyosore Adibi for Souq News TV.
Lateef Jakande. Born Lateef Kayode Jakande in the Ekpetedo area of Lagos Island, Lagos State, on July 1929. He studied at the Lagos Public School at Enowa, Lagos Island, then at Bonham Memorial Methodist School, Port Harcourt, King's College, enrolled at Ilesha Grammar School, where he edited a literary paper called The Quarterly Mirror. Jakande began a career in journalism in 1949 with the Daily Service and joined the Nigerian Tribune in 1953. The owner, Chief Obafemi Awolowo, appointed Jakande editor-in-chief of the Tribune in 1956. Jakande established John West Publications in 1975 after leaving Tribune and began to publish the Lagos News. He served as the first president of the Newspaper Proprietors Association of Nigeria, NPAN. Jakande ran for election as executive governor of Lagos State in 1979 on the Unity Party of Nigeria platform. His administration was effective and open and implemented the cardinal policies of his party. He introduced housing and educational programs targeting the poor, building new neighborhood primary and secondary schools, and providing free primary and secondary education. He gave poor people's children education, and many of them are now very prominent in the society today. Jakande established the Lagos State University and constructed over 30,000 housing units. After the military takeover in 1983, Jakande was charged, prosecuted, and convicted of treason and later pardoned. He served as Minister of Works under the Sani Abacha military regime. He died in Lagos on February 11, 2021. Lateef Jakande was the first civilian governor of Lagos State. Lateef Kayode Jakande, Souq Enlightenment. The National Theatre, Igomu. Built during the military regime of Olusegun Obasanjo and finished in the time for the Second World Festival of Black Arts and Culture, Festac, in 1977. The theatre holds amazing treasures and memories. The artworks fill everyone with pride. The National Arts Theatre is visible from the motorway which connects Lagos Island and the mainland. The National Theatre is packed with the artworks of a legendary contemporary Nigerian artist, stained glass walls by Yusuf Grillo, sculptures and murals by Lamidi Fakeye, Erabo Emopai, and many others. It was put to full use for a month as one of the 4 venues of the Second World Black and African Festival of Arts and Culture, tagged Festac 77. The complex hosted 16,000 participants from 56 African countries and the diaspora in an unprecedented showcase of African music, fine art, literature, drama, dance, and religion. The National Art Theatre was built and designed by techno expert Souq, a Bulgarian company, mirroring the Palace of Culture and Sports in Varna, Bulgaria. Completed in 1976, the building is one of the largest and most beautiful of its kind on the African continent. It consists of a central hall with 5,000 seats, a collapsible stage that can be quickly rebuilt, a conference hall with 1,600 seats, 2 large exhibition halls, and 2 cinemas with 800 seats each. The theater complex has a dressing room for artists, a garage, offices, coffee bars, and a buffet. It has indoor TV and radio systems, as well as booths with facilities for simultaneous translation of languages and hectares of large green lawn around. The majestic structure sits in Igomu like a quiet mountain, mesmerizing visitors and passers-by. The National Theatre, Souq Enlightenment. The Three Wise Men. Iconic sculptures and statues adorn major metropolitan cities of the world. In Lagos, Nigeria, the statue of 3 men designed to depict the state's cultural heritage and to usher in visitors and tourists into the ever-accommodating center of excellence is no doubt an astounding work of art. Originally built under the administration of Colonel Raji Rasaki, designed by Bodun Shodende in 1991 and standing over 12 feet high, referred to as Agba Meta or Aro Meta, the 3 sculptured chiefs were placed along the Lagos-Ibadan toll gate to welcome people coming into Lagos State. The statue called the 3 Wise Men by many has become a major signature for the state. 3 white-capped chiefs clad in white wrappers knotted across their shoulders and with clenched right fists are shown in the artwork. The images fascinate and create impressions in the minds of visitors coming into the state, captivating the attention of visitors who look with keen interest, pondering on the messages which the posture of the engraved images signifies. The 3 Wise Men has been relocated thrice from its original position at Ojodu Berger end of Lagos-Ibadan Expressway to Magodo area before its final relocation to its present site at Olowopopo Drive. The sculpture has suffered severe damages over the years and renovated. Bodun Shodende, through this sculpture, depicted the highest honor that can be afforded to anyone in the eco-greeting tradition. The 3 Wise Men, Arometa, Souq Enlightenment.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission: empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing, and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, monitoring, and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. Ready to make an impact? For more information, email us at info@adstudycenter.com or call +234 912 439 2362. Visit us today at www.adstudycenter.com to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
When Emeka talks about black gold, he isn't referring to oil. He buys it in sacks, not barrels. He sells it from a metal shack to customers in Lagos, Nigeria's commercial capital. Charcoal is big business in Africa. He says there's enough money in the charcoal trade to make the wealthy envious in several African countries. Charcoal has fueled Africa's urbanization. It is energy dense and difficult to regulate, much like the cities it powers. Despite concerns about pollution, deforestation, and illicit money flows, charcoal remains indispensable. In this special report, written by Bayo Olaoye, he explored the value of Africa's charcoal economy, estimated to be worth billions of dollars, and assesses its viability. Nearly 200 million Africans cook primarily with charcoal, including 27% of urban dwellers. That share has grown since 1960, replacing much of its previous reliance on firewood. If there's been an African energy transition, it has been from one type of wood fuel to another. Charcoal's appeal lies in its convenience. By weight, it contains nearly twice as much energy as the wood it's derived from, making it easier to transport and ideal for megacities with fragile infrastructure. In Kinshasa, a Congolese metropolis of 18 million people, almost everyone cooks with it. Never before have cities grown so large while relying so heavily on wood-based fuel. In rural Africa, tens of millions of people make charcoal using earth kilns, outnumbering the world's coal miners. The process involves heating wood under low oxygen conditions to remove moisture and volatile gases. Logs and branches are stacked in a pile, covered with grass and soil, and burned for several days. This yields 1 to 2 tons of charcoal from 10 tons of dry wood. The process emits more carbon than simply burning the wood. Much of the raw wood is free, harvested from farmers' own land or from forests. Many charcoal producers are farmers selling to traders when in need of cash. Others are entrepreneurs who bring in work teams, distribute chainsaws, and pay off landowners or local chiefs. Locals often complain about outsiders cutting down their trees. In Kenya and Uganda, vigilantes have even attacked charcoal trucks. Africa's charcoal trade is estimated to be worth tens of billions of dollars, possibly more than the continent earns from cocoa or coffee. The money trail often leads to soldiers or government officials. The United Nations Security Council banned charcoal exports from Somalia because jihadists were earning millions by exporting it to the Gulf, where shisha smokers prize the aroma of acacia wood. Charcoal production leaves destruction in its wake. In Mozambique's Mabalane district, 2/3 of the woodland was affected by charcoal harvesting in the decade leading to 2018, according to one study. To mitigate the damage, governments oscillate between legalizing the trade through licensing and forest management and banning it outright. Sudden bans, however, often fuel a black market. Enforcement becomes a chaotic negotiation involving traders, officials, police, soldiers, and local communities. Lorry drivers move at night and pay bribes to checkpoints. In Uganda, where charcoal production is banned, it's smuggled across the border and transported under official seals from South Sudan. Other policies promote clean cooking. Liquid petroleum gas, LPG, which burns cleaner than charcoal, is exempted from VAT in Kenya. Some companies have introduced metered gas canisters so consumers can pay as they go, easing upfront costs. Today, more than half of urban Kenyans use LPG as their main cooking fuel. Bond Manufacturing, a company known for efficient stoves, has stopped selling its charcoal models and now promotes electric stoves subsidized by carbon credits. Experts say charcoal is on the decline in Kenya, though it remains prevalent in countries like Madagascar and Zambia, where alternatives are limited. Phasing out charcoal will have economic consequences. The trade is informal and decentralized, while gas is distributed through large firms and creates fewer jobs. Charcoal provides roughly 275 workdays per terajoule consumed, compared with 95 for electricity and 15 for LPG. Gas imports also strained foreign currency reserves. For now, most consumers juggle multiple energy sources. Charcoal production in Africa is still growing at about 2% annually. But one thing is clear: as long as there is the ghetto, there will always be charcoal. I'm Moyosore Adebi for Souq News TV.
Eko Atlantic has become Nigeria's most sought-after city for its high-end infrastructure, prestige, and well-planned city layout, as reflected in an 8-lane boulevard, about 13 internal bridges, underground cables, and green footprints defined by over 30,000 trees. Additionally, having a building in the city has become a trend among the so-called big boys, as was the case with Old Ikoyi, Victoria Garden City, popularly called VGC, Osborne Foreshore, and now Banana Island. In this special report, Bayo Olaoye states that this talk of I belong and the prestige mentality has also spread to the big firms. Before now, Kingsway and Ozumba Mbadiwe used to say that Victoria Island were the go-to locations for high-rise office buildings. These locations are home to iconic developments such as Kingsway Towers, Heritage Palace, Fanfa Towers, the Winds and the Waves, among others, making them Nigeria's equivalent of Silicon Valley. The Eko Atlantic City was modeled after the skyscraper district of Manhattan Island in New York City. It has become the new destination for big-ticket corporate firms which are building or relocating their new headquarters to the 10-square-kilometer city, rising off the coast of the Atlantic Ocean in Lagos. The city is attracting investment interests in both residential and commercial real estate, the latest being MTN Nigeria, preparing to build a new headquarters. MTN is coming on the heels of First Bank, which recently turned the turf to build a 40-floor corporate head office, making the city's most iconic development so far. Prior to this courageous and ambitious entry into Eko City by MTN, First Bank, Dangote Group, and the Embassy of the United States of America have taken positions there, developing a new head office and a diplomatic facility respectively. Much earlier, a co-development company had occupied the city as the developer of the Azuri Towers, offering both residential and commercial facilities for high clients and corporate bodies. Arkland Property Investment and Oak Homes are also in the city, developing A&A Towers simultaneously. These are the residential developments that will be standing on the 22nd floor and the 33rd floors respectively. Other developments are the Pan-African Towers by Periwinkle Residences, Eco Pearl with Champagne Tower and Eco Pearl Black Tower, Amni Towers and Ani International Petroleum Development Company, and Louisville Towers by Total Energy Staff Cooperative and Multipurpose Society. Louisville will comprise 300 residential homes spread between 2 towers, a world-class sporting center, and a club. retail outlets, and other facilities. It is designed to employ modern technology to achieve smart living and high standards. Eko Atlantic is an exclusive luxury city with superior infrastructure that appeals to the kind of investors we have seen in the city so far.
Dr. Souq A. Adedeji, whose leadership has significantly transformed Nigeria's tax administration, is a distinguished first-class graduate in accounting from the prestigious Obafemi Awolowo University, Ile-Ife, and he currently serves as the chairman of the Federal Inland Revenue Service, FIRS.
I firmly believe in the wisdom encapsulated in the statements. Revenue growth is the lifeblood of a nation's economy, providing means to fulfill essential duties to its citizens. These words capture the core principle that will guide us as we navigate the challenging terrain ahead, ensuring that our nation thrives and fulfills its obligation to its citizens. In our pursuit of greater fiscal future, we are determined to align ourselves with President Bola Tinubu's Extreme Fiscal Policy and Tax Reform Committee. This collaboration will enable us to shape the prosperous fiscal landscape that will empower our nation's growth and development.
Born on January 8, 1978 in Ogbomoso, Oyo State, Nigeria, Dr. Adedeji is an accomplished accountant and public officer with extensive expertise in corporate taxation and public finance. His journey in public service began in 2011 when he was appointed as Commissioner for Finance in Oyo State. In that capacity, Adedeji introduced transformative financial reforms, most notably the establishment of the Treasury Single Account (TSA) to streamline government revenues and expenditures. In March 2021, President Muhammadu Buhari appointed Adedeji as Executive Secretary of the National Sugar Development Council (NSCDC). In this capacity, he founded the Nigeria Sugar Institute and spearheaded the Sugar Backward Integration Program, which sought to enhance local sugar production and reduce reliance on foreign imports. In June 2023, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu appointed Adedeji as Special Advisor on Revenue, and by September of that same year, he had ascended to the position of Executive Chairman of FIRS, Nigeria's leading tax authority responsible for the assessment, collection, and management of federal taxes.
The focus will be on these indirect taxes, so that as long as you consume, you have to pay. As long as you have interest on your investment, you have to pay. And this is echoing Mr. President's message that we are not going to tax the seed, but we are going to tax the fruit. The fruit is what we focus on. So all those things, when we have this holistic process, it will be captured, and that the vision is to have a progressive tax, that if you earn more, you pay more, and if you earn less, you will not pay.
Under his leadership, FIRS exceeded its 2023 revenue target of 11.55 trillion naira. As chairman of FIRS, Dr. Adedeji implemented a performance-based system aligning with the service's new slogan, simplifying tax, maximizing revenue.
Dr. Souq Adedeji has done incredibly well in transforming and reforming the tax processes and procedures in Nigeria. In a little over a year being at the helm of the affairs of the tax body in Nigeria, we have seen a significant improvement in revenue generation. His policy of not crumbling business with taxation is something that also needs to be applauded. Souq Adedeji philosophy is taxing fruits and not the seed, and taxing prosperity, not poverty. Because if you look at the fiscal landscape of Nigeria in the past 10 years, you find that businesses have struggled to live, and that has led to the exit of so many businesses from Nigeria. But with this new reform, we're seeing that the businesses will profit from the reform processes, and that will mean more business for Nigeria. We will have a lot of foreign inflow in terms of foreign direct investment that will actually drive the process of economic growth for the country. And I think he has done so well, and he deserves a kudos, especially for taking the giant stride to restructure FRS for efficiency, for accountability, and for value for money.
He has also made the welfare of the staff a top priority, fostering a positive working environment that has brought smiles to the faces of FRS employees nationwide. Supporters of the tax reform bills highlight several key benefits, harping on the need for streamlined tax processes that could reduce bureaucratic hurdles and foster an environment where businesses can thrive.
He has initiated a lot of reform which dovetail into the tax reform bills that is before the National Assembly. This initiative is to improve on the tax administration system in Nigeria with a view to improving on the collection systems that will be beneficial to every member of the Nigerian state. Souq, as is well known, has improved on simplifying tax reform even within the federal land revenue, which in no means has improved on tax administration. And he celebrated essentially for the core initiative of the tax reform.
Under Dr. Adedeji's leadership, Nigeria's tax system has gone beyond mere policy adjustments. Its focus is on fostering sustainable growth and ensuring that the benefits of tax reforms reach both businesses and citizens.
So those that are attaching the bill, one, they are doing that in view of the formula they discovered, which may not be, will not augur well for them on the bad allocation. And then secondly, they may be having the feeling that this law was just designed to favor Lagos State in the course of its own effort to become a state that has special status. Okay? It says so that will make it to be seen as if it is a country of its own, even though it's not up to the level of country, but it is higher than all other states in the country. Probably this may be the reason why they are agitating. The one that you can see clearly is on this issue of VAT. And then they have other suspicion. So that is another worry that I have. The issue of trust. Trust, what do some experts call trust deficit. Yes, will be promoted greatly by this if corrective measures are not taken. Graduation must not be defined. But then people have to go by what is happening now. As they go against it. Since now the graduation is about contribution of state that are producing these goods and services being consumed. So they have the right to just say that, oh, well, so now instead of 20%, it will now be 60%. And then you hear the government functionaries, including members of the committee, saying that no, that's not what they mean. They mean area of consumption. This 60% graduation is about consumption area, not location of the headquarters of company that produce the good or services. You should have defined that in the law.
Contributing to long-term national development, Dr. Souq A. Adedeji's career is a testament of his unwavering commitment to improving Nigeria's financial systems and enhancing revenue generation, showcasing his exceptional expertise in corporate and public finance.
Broad Street. Broad Street, situated in Lagos Island, is steeped in Nigerian history. Once the biggest financial hub of the country, it housed the headquarters of major banks, linked to CBN, the stock exchange, and the loads of lender companies. Broad Street is a historically significant street. It has played a central role in the development of Lagos and history, an important commercial and administrative center for the British colonial authorities. It was also a home to some of the city's earliest modern buildings. Broad Street was a residential area in the pre-colonial era. With the British came the Methodist Boys High School in 1878 and the Broad Street Prison in 1882, renamed Freedom Park. The General Hospital, which was a British military hospital, was built in 1893, being the first general hospital in Nigeria. The old British Secretariat building, which is now the Federal Ministry of Justice, was built in 1906. Broad Street has seen a full turn into modern commercial office blocks, complexes, skyscrapers, and markets from the outer marina through Akpombo, early into the Adeliji-Adele Road. Broad Street is one of the busiest streets in Nigeria on weekdays, where commercial activities take place day and night. From modern buildings to ancient structures, this street gives one a raw dose of life in Lagos. Broad Street is often referred to as Lagos Financial District. It boasts a mix of architectural styles, reflecting its long history, colonial-era buildings, Victorian and Edwardian architectural features, alongside more modern skyscrapers and structures. Broad Street remains a vital, vibrant part of the Nigerian economy. Broad Street. Souq Enlightenment.
Tafawa Balewa Square, TBS. Tafawa Balewa Square was initially used as a horsing ground called Lagos Race Course. The edifice was constructed by General Yakubu Gowon in 1972 and named after Nigeria's first Prime Minister, Sir Tafawa Balewa. Tafawa Balewa Square is located at 45/57 Marse Bangboshe Street on Lagos Island, Lagos, and referred to as TBS. TBS is a 50,000-seater capacity venue and houses the Remembrance Arcade, the 26-story Independence House, which at a time was the country's tallest building. When Lagos served as the country's seat of government, the National Assembly Complex was within the TBS. Also in the square are the National Broadcasting Commission Office, the Nigerian Hydrological Services Agency Office, shopping centers, travel agencies, restaurants, car parking lots, and a bus terminal. Tafawa Balewa Square is adorned with beautiful statues of white horses and red eagles, symbols of strength and dignity. Our historic neighbors include the King's College and the Holy Cross Cathedral. Tafawa Balewa Square hosted some of the country's memorable events, such as the Independence Day in 1960, when Nigeria gained independence from Britain, the Armed Forces Remembrance Day, which is celebrated annually on January 15. The edifice is a national cultural asset. Tafawa Balewa Square. Souq Enlightenment.
Cocoa remains a significant cash crop in Nigeria, predominantly produced by small-scale farmers in the country's southwest region. Historically, cocoa served as a major source of foreign earnings until the 1970s, when the discovery of petroleum shifted the focus away from agriculture. Despite various challenges from its introduction in 1807 to the present, efforts by successive governments and the resilience of cocoa farmers have sustained its production. To better optimize productivity and ensure fair prices for farmers and high economic returns for the government, the Cocoa Marketing Board, CMB, was established in 1947. However, the goal was not totally achieved as pricing policy weren't favorable, discouraging farmers from producing export crops, and that eventually led to the board's abolition in 1986. This resulted in reduced yields and lower quality cocoa beans. Meanwhile, The millennium era witnessed a shift in farmers' focus towards more economically viable crops like oil palm due to the high cost and intensive care required for cocoa production. Cocoa production faces several obstacles, including limited access to fertilizers, unfavorable climate conditions, pest infestation, poor infrastructure, and land shortages. Also, herders' attacks on farmers have deterred farmers from expanding their farmlands. According to research, despite challenges, cocoa production has empowered many farmers and more stakeholders in the value chain, improving their living standards, enabling them to provide education for their children, cover medical expenses, and build better homes. Concerning the future of cocoa farming in Nigeria, there are mixed opinions among farmers. Some are hopeful that government reinvestment in addressing current challenges can revive the sector's past success. Others are pessimistic due to the persistent issues and the trend of farmers shifting to other crops. Regardless, hope remains for the sector. Solutions like improving land-labor relations, infrastructure, and financial support could revitalize cocoa production, reduce out migration, stabilize prices, and enhance value chain development, ultimately securing a brighter future for Nigerian cocoa farming and its stakeholders. Ojai Michael, reporting for Souq News.
Cashew nuts, ranked among Ivory Coast top cash crops, play a crucial role in the country's economy, generating substantial revenue and supporting livelihoods across the country. As the world's leading exporter of raw cashew nuts, Ivory Coast contributes an estimated $800 million annually to its economy and also serves as a vital source of income for over 410,000 families, particularly in rural areas where few other opportunities exist. Cashew trees flourish in Ivory Coast northern regions, including Bondukau and Savannah, known for its high-quality nuts and extensive plantations, just as Worondogu and Bagwe in the north central and northwest are also emerging as key producers. These regions not only drive Ivory Coast cashew production, but also support local livelihoods and economic growth. However, the country with over 29 million citizens is yet to fully realize the potential of its cashew industry. Despite being the top producer, the country processes only 7% of its cashew domestically, resulting in lost opportunities for value addition and job creation. Specifically, a recent data reveals that only 22% of the country's cashew nut output was processed domestically in 2023, even as the volatility of global cashew prices poses risks to farmers' income and overall economic stability. Concerns also arise regarding labor practices in some cashew farms and the environmental impact of deforestation for new plantations. To address these challenges and maximize the benefit of its cashew industry, Ivory Coast must focus on key strategies moving forward. These include investing in local processing facilities to boost job creation, export value, and farmers' incomes. Furthermore, the Ivorian government body overseeing the cashew sector, ARECA, must promote fair trade practices and ethical sourcing to ensure better prices for farmers and improve working conditions. Sustainable farming practices will also help to protect the environment and ensure long-term cashew production. According to a recommendation made at a workshop organized by the World Bank, tax exemptions and access to credit facilities will help to tackle some of these challenges. Furthermore, the private sector can also invest in research to develop high-yielding cashew varieties, improve processing techniques, explore new cashew products, as well as develop and implement digital platforms that connect farmers to market in order to facilitate financial transactions. Organizations like the Africa Cashew Initiative, ACI, must also assist in data compilation in the value chain at macro, meso, and micro level. By addressing this and harnessing its cashew potential, the country can further enhance its economy and build a more sustainable future for its citizens. Israel Adeyemi reporting for Souq News.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission, empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change. With customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics, ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation.
A very good morning to you and welcome to Just Africa. We are reaching you live from our studios in the commercial city of Lagos. I am Oyinpriye Krumale. Now, where it is a program where we connect the dots between ambition and action across the continent's dynamic business landscape. Today, we dive deep into a critical engine of Africa's transformation, the rise of small and medium-sized enterprises and their journey from local champions to pan-African powerhouses across the continent. SMEs account for over 80% of employment and contribute significantly to the GDP, from Nigeria's fintech boom to Kenya's agri-tech revolution, from Ghana's fast-scaling fashion labels to South Africa's logistics disruptors. These enterprises are not just businesses, they are catalysts of innovation, job creation, and economic diversification. But a bold question remains, as a lot of people have asked, how can African SMEs scale beyond borders to become a continental giant? What leadership models, systems, and mindsets do they need to thrive across the diverse markets, languages, and regulations? Joining us today is a voice of insight and clarity on this challenge, Wale Adekanle, scalable leadership expert, international speaker, and executive coach who has helped businesses grow sustainably across the multiple African markets. With his guidance, we explore leadership DNA required to scale from city to country and from country to the entire continent. Good morning to you, Mr. Wale Adekanle.
Thank you for having me today.
Adekanla, right?
Yeah, Adekanla.
Adekanla, welcome to Just Africa.
Thank you for having me.
Good morning. I'm Olumide Shukwe. It's glad to have you also.
Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate
Welcome to Just Africa. Yes, most times I make it known to our viewers that the profile of most of our guests are quite robust and long, but for the purpose of the program, we tend to short it to give it an abridged version of that. So it's okay, I should let you know that.
No problem.
Now let's jump into the meat of the conversation. I tend to see what we're talking about today, a crucial part of it is leadership.
Yeah.
So I would like to start from the leadership architecture that governs businesses, that enable businesses to scale from one level to the other. So what trait of business, what trait of leader or leadership do you think is most appropriate for business to scale through the different ranks to that continental level?
Wow, thank you very much for that wonderful question. Let's start with this. Today in Africa, we don't have the shortage of opportunities or ideas. We have the shortage of leadership scaling gaps. We have the challenge of scaling leadership because most businesses start very strong. And that, of course, that could be a ministry, it could be a government agency, it could be maybe a startup business. Start very strong. And I've seen that across Africa, I've seen that globally. It's not just an African issue, it's a global challenge. But to tailor it down to Africa, most businesses, when they start growing, they hit a ceiling. We call it growth ceiling. Because the business is founder dependent, not system dependent. And that's the big challenge. Most entrepreneurs don't understand what it means to structure systems and to have a leadership shift from a founder dependent to a system dependent. And what does that really mean? Everything rises and falls on leadership. John C. Maxwell. I'm an executive director on John C. Maxwell team globally. And one of the challenges we see when we're coaching leaders, whether in ministry, in government, or in business, is that most people, most leaders specifically, they have the challenge of creating leadership pipelines. And let's start with this. You're starting a business. That's the first level. You have the idea. You want to fill a gap. You want to test your product. And you want to release a particular solution to the world. Fantastic. That is the first level. We have 7 levels. Most businesses in Africa, when they start from the first level as a founder, they move to the second level, the growth level, because the founder level is what we call the explorer level. You're exploring. You're testing your product, whether the product is market fit or not. Then you move into the growth level. The growth level is what I call the architect level, where you start designing systems and processes. And that requires leadership. Because at the founder level, you could be a business practitioner, a hustler. You are the HR. You are the creator. You are the director.
Marketer.
You are the marketer. You are the sales director. You are everything. Which, of course, that's the norm. That's the way it should be. You start the move. But the moment you move from the first level to the second level, the growth level, then you need to become an architect. You need to become a designer. You need to become someone who starts creating systems and processes. And that requires a shift. Most people have the challenge of creating that shift from moving from being the hustler into the person who is creating the systems and processes. Now, when you get to the second level, being the architect, most people also hit the ceiling at that level. They can't move to the third level, which of course is what I call the scale level. The scale level requires a new dimension of leadership mindset. There is a need for another shift there. From moving from an architect to become a strategist. A strategist here is not just someone who is designing systems and processes. Now you are thinking about creating teams, moving from a founder-led business to a team-led business, whereby you are not the asset anymore. You are now building something that will become the asset.
Okay. So I'll just keep quiet and let you just go on and on. But at what level, at what time do you discover or you know that it's a shift right now from the finder level to the other next level where you start building systems, then to the third level? At what time do you discover that as an entrepreneur, as someone who has started the process?
Fantastic, great question here. I think, in fact, this is one of the things I usually do with, with a lot of students we coach globally, because we have to be practical, breaking it down to let people understand. It's not just about what we say; it's about being intentional. Growth could be accidental, but scaling is intentional. You can't scale accidentally. You you have to be intentional. That means you need to have the right mindset, the right skill set, and the right tool sets. When you start as a founder, and that could be, ministry, it could be a business, or maybe you're starting an agency, of course, a government parastatal, or whatever organization. If you want to move from the first level to the second level, let me use a business as a case study here.
Yes, please.
You're starting a business, and now you are testing your product, if the product is market fit or not. You're selling the idea to people. So let's use a product or a service as an example. The moment you have at least 10 customers, now these customers are not repeatable customers yet, and that's the value of system.
Okay.
Because system helps you to create a repeatable framework in your business or your organization. So if you have at least 10 clients or 10 customers who are patronizing your product or your services, then there is a need for you to start thinking about creating systems and processes. That is you becoming the architect who designs systems and processes. One of them is what I call documentation, of course. Of course, we have delegation, we have different systems and processes. If we get there, of course, we're going to talk about that. Now, once we have that, move to become the architect. Start designing systems and processes. And what does that really mean? So you're trying to document everything you do. Because you want to now start bringing people on board. For example, you want to bring in someone who's going to be focusing on your marketing or focusing on your sales, right? Or maybe an executive assistant. At least someone to support you so that you can let go some tasks and focus on the major things. Right, and of course, that is the essence of that shift. Right now, you need to start thinking about getting the help that you need, because you can't do everything. If you want to expand, you need to multiply yourself and reproduce yourself.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that. Now, looking at scaling up, you mentioned that you need to first build a team. And once you build that team, the workload is reduced. So my question now is, when you build that team, in Nigeria is a very peculiar country whereby we have CEOs, after they build the team, they still make decisions, so when is the right time to say, okay, hands off, let me let this team lead while I just take the back seat and maybe I just get reports and final decisions, decisions that can be made, without me. When is the right time?
Wow, you actually ask one of the most important questions. And that's when a founder moves from being the architect to becoming the strategist. As the owner of the business, as the CEO, you can't leave all, everything to everyone. You still have to be present. You can't be absent in your business. And we have to be clear about that, because I see many trainings out there where people will say, founder-led system versus system-led system. As a system-led, a system, you just get away completely. I said, no. You can't be absent completely. However, you leave the small task to go to the bigger task. Okay? You leave something to go to something bigger. And that's why vision is in phases. So when you leave some small task, because you have to prioritize what is urgent, what is not urgent, what is necessary, what is not necessary. For example, practically. So let's say as a CEO, you have, you've measured your own value and you're saying, okay, my value is 1 million naira, for example, using our currency, 1 million naira per hour. That's my value. That's what I bring to my business every day. Okay, so divide that by 4. Okay, that would be 250,000 per hour. So anything below a quarter of your own value that you bring in every day, you need to let go. Hire someone to take over that task. Practically. So when you hire someone to take over that task, you go to a bigger task. That's why you can expand from you becoming a 2 million per hour founder, because you have somebody who is assisting you. For example, that could be your EA, who is taking all your tasks, scheduling, making some calls, let go some calls, and you can focus on some strategic thing, because you want to become a strategist, not just someone who designs systems and processes. So it's important to have that shift from building the team. Now, building the team, because you want to have a team-led organization, a team that is independent on your own decisions. You are bringing in experts. When you bring in experts to help you to build your business, your job is not to be telling them what to do. So if you have all the answers, why do you need your team? They are experts. They are in there to support you, to help you build the business. So your job is to paint the picture. Vision is very strategic. You have to be clear. That's where clarity comes in. Bringing in the right people and positioning them on the right seats. Most founders make that mistake. So, for example, they hire their brother or their sister to come and help them to scale the business. A sister that does not have the right skill set, because of sentiment, they put people there. It's not by emotions. It's by focusing on capacity. And that's where leadership capacity comes in, because you want to multiply and expand leadership capacity within your organization so that your team can make that decision. If your team is not scalable, you can't scale it, because not every team is scalable.
All right, one more question. I've seen some companies whereby, in order to scale up their business, they hire consultants to manage the business, but sometimes they come in once in a while. So my question is, when you hire a consultant, is there a specific time frame, 2 years, 3 years? What is the right time frame to allow this consultant to do what they need to do, then you come back and take over? That is, if you want to.
Well, to answer that question, I think it depends on the situation. It depends on the situation, because we consult for companies. It depends on the challenge.
Maybe
it depends
the company is not making money?
Yeah, exactly. In fact, I call it system alert. We just created a model called ADAPT model. The number one in that ADAPT model, which is the A, is system alert. In every organization, in every family, in every nation, in every continent, there is an alert. An alert that tells you there is a need for change. And that's why I don't teach change management anymore. I teach change leadership. Because change managers, they manage whatever that is in existence. But change leaders come in, disrupt, and create new systems that works and that scales, that create the sustainable capacity for that system to continue to live after them. So a change leader comes in there if you have a consultant, because not every consultant can create the kind of change you need. Right now, I challenge a lot of consultants right now. When they go into the businesses, they just want to make money, but not to create sustainable change there. So it's important for the founder to, first of all, bring in the right person. And it depends on the solution that the person wants to deliver that determines the time frame. As a founder or a CEO or an executive, bringing in a consultant to support you, you can't be absent. You can't be absent.
At no point.
You can't be absent. You have to be present. You have to be around. You have to lead. You are not saying go to your people. You are saying let's go. That's why leaders lead. You are not saying it. You are doing it. Because it's contagious. It's not something you're just telling people to do. People see you doing it because you are leading the way. John Maxwell says that the leader is the one who knows the way, who goes the way, and shows the way.
Great. Though we are due for a break, but before we go for the break, I needed you to attend to this question in just 2 minutes. Africa has a peculiar business landscape with so many challenges that are confronting us at this moment in time. Is that in Rwanda, people look at Paul Kagame as the one who is bailing the cat in the continent when it comes to change, disruptive, like the way you call it, transformative change at this moment in time. And so we are looking at Africa as a whole, or a few countries that you can reference. As it is at the moment, what are the kind of businesses in the continent of Africa that investors should be looking at to go in there to disrupt the system, create a new wave with the target or the instrument in view, African Continental Free Trade Area? So can we briefly attend to that before?
Yeah, thank you very much. I'll try to be brief.
Yeah. No,
Because I have a lot in my head.
When we're due for a break, I'll just tell you to pause. We go, then we'll come back. You can continue in your line of thought.
Yeah, thank you very much. So let's start with this. Africa is a very beautiful continent, very unique. 54 countries, more than 8,000 tribes, more than 3,000 languages. That's unique. I love the diversity. However, it's important to know the culture, know the nation, understand the systems, understand the compliance. There are different things that we need to consider when it comes to business or scaling the business, right? I want to use Rwanda as an example because you mentioned Rwanda. Think about the Ministry of Innovation. They have some system in place. When I did a study about it, I was like, wow, that's interesting. They have their KPI systems. Now, remember, I'm using system. KPI system. They have their team charter system. They have their leadership pipeline systems that they have in place. So when a minister comes in, a minister is not coming in to build everything on personality. You are coming in to improve the system that is in place already. So it's not personality dependent. It is system dependent. And that's where innovation comes in. That's where disruption comes in, because disruption is good. Many times we run away from disruption. Oh, there's a problem here. In fact, that's when we need to run towards disruption, because there is something beautiful after disruption. We need to look at it as value. So for us, it's important to think, for example, looking at Ministry of Innovation in Rwanda, that's a very good case study. You are not coming into a system, you are not creating a business, you are not creating an organization or an agency or a parastatal to just, for everyone to focus on you. No, because you are not the asset. You shouldn't be the asset. To create a sustainable change, you are not the asset. The system should be the asset, and that's how the system can outlive the individual. That's when the system can create legacy, because legacy is not just what you leave behind. No, legacy is what continues to work when you stop working, and that's what we need to focus on as Africans, whether you're in business, whether you're in ministry, or whether you are in government. So if you think about the tech companies, Andela, for example, Andela started as a developer, started in one city, in Nigeria, and look at Andela now, globally, functioning globally, because they've decentralized their leadership. Whether in Nairobi, whether in Ghana, or even in the United Kingdom, in the US, they have their systems everywhere. Why? Because they've diversified and they understand how to decentralize leadership, how to create leadership pipelines, how to create boards across the border, not just within the region, not just having Nigerians being the board members, but having a board member who is focusing on compliance in, let's say, for example, Rwanda, let's say, for example, in Kenya. So it's easier to scale when you have people who understand the systems in a different country in order to bring in your business and make everything seamless for you. It's systematic. If we study the banking industry, they use the same system as well. For example, you look at UBA, you look at First Bank, you look at all of them. They have this decentralized leadership, whereby if you go to different African countries, more than 20 of them, for example, the banking industries, more than 20 of them, they have that same system.
Right there. Thank you very much. So we're going to continue with that line of thought. You're still watching Just Africa, and we are reaching you live from our studios of Souq News Television. We're going to break briefly, and when we return, we'll continue the conversation. Don't go anywhere.
At the Africa Development Studies Center, ADSC, we are committed to driving sustainable growth and development across Africa through innovative training and research. Our mission, empowering leaders, policymakers, and professionals with the tools they need to create lasting change with customized training, dynamic research programs, and study exchanges on leadership, management, and other critical development topics. ADSC offers a platform for exchanging cutting-edge ideas and global best practices. We provide comprehensive services in research and consultancy, capacity building and training, education programs, publishing and knowledge sharing. Our esteemed faculty, composed of seasoned experts and researchers, ensures a learning experience that is insightful and practical. We specialize in policy development, implementation strategies, and monitoring and evaluation. At ADSC, learning is engaging and enjoyable. Our unique methodology includes talks, interactive exercises, games, video screenings, and lively seminar discussions, all in a comfortable and friendly environment. For more information, email us at info@adstudiescenter.com or call +234 912 039 2362. Visit our website, www.adstudiescenter.com, to explore our programs and upcoming events. Africa Development Studies Center, rethinking development for Africa.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. The point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
For more than a century, Zambia has stood as a prominent figure in the mining sector, particularly renowned for its copper production, which remains a cornerstone of the nation's economy. Accounting for 3/4 of the country's export earnings, mining plays a pivotal role in Zambia's economic landscape. The focal point of this mining activity is the Copperbelt province, home to major copper mines like Lumwana and Konkola, alongside Sentinel in the northwestern province. These mines, operated by renowned international firms such as Barrick and Vendetta Resources, hold majority foreign ownership, with Zambia consolidated.
Welcome back. Many thanks for joining us on the program. It's Just Africa. We're still reaching you live from our studios. We still have Mr. Wale Adekanle in the studio, a scalable business expert, an international global standard. It's a global skill, like I was saying earlier. He's an international coach in this line. He helps to restructure and fashion the DNAs of businesses that wants to scale up. Welcome once again to the program.
Thank you.
Yes, so you were addressing the line of thought about businesses that are peculiar to environments in Africa, and looking at the scalable leadership to be able to drive them, take them from point A to point B, and maybe taking advantage of the African Continental Free Trade Area.
Yes.
Yes, please go
on. Thank you. So let me quickly address something. Because people ask me this question often about what should I do to help my business to grow, to scale? Because grow doesn't mean you're scaling. So what can I really do? I received that questioned everywhere. Now, I would love to address that now so that at least to help our audience.
Yes.
There's something we call pattern.
Pattern.
And it's important for us to recognize it. There are 3 levels of pattern. The first one is what I call the pattern recognition. Now, pattern recognition is very critical. It's a systematic principle that every entrepreneur needs to understand. Okay. What is working or what worked? What exactly is really working? Thinking about all these global conglomerates, thinking about all these enterprises globally, people who have done it. Studying pattern is very critical because history is more important than money. When we understand history, when we understand the people who have done it, organizations that have done it, I think that is very critical in creating the kind of change that we really need, or the kind of change that you need in your own particular business to build what you're really, desiring, or the vision that you have seen. So the first thing is pattern recognition. Someone has done it before. Okay. An organization has scaled already. Why can't you study what they've done? Study what they've done. Before we created a conference, for example, that we do annually in the United States, World Conference, before we started that, we studied at least 7 global conferences. I called our team together and I gave them the information. Could you please just study this? Then we came back to what I call leadership table. Everyone contributed and I listened. In fact, that is the job of the executives. Listen more, talk less. So I listened to everybody. They brought up great ideas. And then we used all the ideas to create a system that we're using today. And we just keep on improving that system to impact executives and businesses. So pattern recognition. Number 2 is pattern usage. Once you recognize pattern, then the next thing is, okay, what worked? What didn't work? How did they fail? Okay, what lessons did they learn? Sometimes you win, sometimes you learn. So, okay, now use the pattern, start applying it, start talking to people, creating systems and processes around the pattern that worked and those that did not work. All right, stepping away from them. Then the next thing is pattern creation. So you're using the pattern, now create new patterns. That is going to lead me to what I call the scalable leadership framework, which I'm going to talk about briefly, if time permits. Scalable leadership framework is a systematic framework in scaling leadership across organizations, across levels within an organization. How can you scale leadership as an entrepreneur or as an organization? Very critical. Now, we have intrapreneurs and we have entrepreneurs. Now, as an intrapreneurs and entrepreneurs. Now, an entrepreneur is someone, of course, that works within the organization who has the business mindset, who is innovative. Now, an entrepreneur is someone who is building. Of course, you've seen a vision, you have an idea, you are building something significant to create an impact, okay, within an ecosystem or within an industry, and you want to scale that globally. So, when we talk about a scalable leadership framework, the first level is leading yourself. You cannot equip and lead others if you are not equipping and leading yourself. That's where everything starts from. Scalable leadership starts with you leading yourself first.
Okay, just a moment. Now, you're still watching the program. We're going to break. We'll be back in a moment. Please do join us again.
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success story, except it didn't happen overnight. I'm happy to be here. One of the key things about the Omniverse is that it's designed to go beyond an event and designed to be fully something that people can engage beyond the summit. point being that Nigeria has so much to bring to the world in terms of these things, but we will be bringing fresh energy, fresh ideas, a fresh engagement, and we're obviously open to collaboration. But hip-hop, it never dies. What's the difference between Thor and Shango? Thor is approaching $50 billion in revenue. Shango's broke somewhere outside Lagos. And that's a lack of imagination on our part, Africa, and they're all Nigerian. So to be seen and to be noticed is very hard if you're not in the place where all the noise is being made.
Welcome back, many thanks for joining us on the program. You were talking about a scalable leadership framework. Yes. Please continue with your line of perspective.
Yes, so like I said, everything starts with you leading you. Lead yourself. You cannot lead and equip others if you are not leading and equipping yourself. Because there is something called the leadership lead, LID. Now, your business, your family, your nation, your organization, your team cannot outgrow you. So if you are on level 5, for example, let's say from 1 to 10, if you're at level 5, if your leadership capacity is at level 5, your team, everything that you lead will be below that level 5. So if you want to move, you want your organization to move to level 5, then you have to move to level 6 or 7.
Okay.
Because your leadership capacity will determine the growth of everything you lead. So everything starts with you leading yourself. When you start leading yourself, then you can now move to the second level, leading a small team. And this is very practical even within organizations. You have to be a producer before you can start reproducing others, reproducing leadership in others. So you are leading yourself, then you need to start leading others. Now there are some skill set and mindset that are very critical at this level, level 2. To be a successful level 2 leader, for example, coaching is very critical. Mentorship is very critical. Those are skill sets. People don't just acquire them accidentally. They have to be intentional for them to grow to that level. Because right now, you are leading implementers. You are leading people who are doing what you were doing. Because now you are leading a team. You are leading a group of people. You are not managing the team. You are leading the team. Now, the third level is what I call the team of teams. And here at this level, the level 3 leader is someone who is now leading several teams, leading leaders who are leading teams, right? So now you need to understand you need to increase your capacity, let me put it that way, by understanding team dynamics, understanding how to work with other leaders, how to coach them, how to mentor them, how to measure performance and different KPIs. You know, you need to have your own performance dashboard at that level, building and scaling leadership. The fourth level is what I call the portfolio leader or the organizational leader. Now you're talking about the executives, the VPs, you know, the SVPs and different, you know, executives at that level. If we're also talking about, if we're talking about ministries, if we're talking about our government agencies, we're talking about executives, we're talking about the senior leaders, people who are senior, you know, in senior positions within the agencies or within the ministries. I call them ladder orders. Then the fifth level is what I call the enterprise level, and that is the pinnacle of leadership. And right now we're talking about Pan-Africa, and that's why this is very critical. At that level, we're talking about scaling beyond yourself.
Yes.
Scaling beyond borders. Scaling beyond borders. And building the right capacity that will help everyone to understand the legacy that you are building. It is not about you right now. It's about the legacy that you are building. It's about what works when you stop working. It's about the leadership a multiplication effect that you have built while you are working. So because you have stepped back, that means you have built a system that can continue to work when you step back. And that's what it means to scale leadership, to multiply leadership capacity within and across the organization.
All right. So I'd like to ask you a question. Scaling up leadership and all that, scaling up business, it all requires some financial, stuff. So my question is, for leaders, how can they ensure financial sustainability, during this rapid growth or rapid regional growth? How can they ensure that, financial sustainability?
Great question. Thank you very much for that. In fact, I'm going to be direct. Everything is not about the capital. In fact, the reason why most businesses are not scaling is not because of the lack of capital. It's because of the lack of network. One of the things I tell young entrepreneurs is that you need to understand sponsorship. You need to submit yourself and look for sponsors. You need to put yourself in the right room. You need to create the right relationships. It's not about you. It's about someone who is speaking or talking about you when you are not in the room. Who is that person? Sponsorship is very critical in entrepreneurship. To build and to scale, to expand, sponsorship is very critical. If you ask a young entrepreneur, an average entrepreneur, they don't understand the capacity of sponsorship. Number two, coaching. Coaching is intentional. You can't get out of coaching. You need to look for someone who can guide you, who can show you what you are doing wrong, and point some things and ask you the right questions so that you can think right. Then the third one is mentorship.
All right.
Go on. The third one is mentorship, like I said. So mentorship is very critical. Someone has done it before. Because coaching is different from mentorship. They are not the same thing. A mentor, your mentor might not be your coach. So because someone is mentoring you, someone who has produced the result before, you want to become a successful entrepreneur, you need to look for someone who is successful in that area. And of course, study others who have also done other things in other industries and study the pattern, like pattern I mentioned, pattern recognition, what works, and then follow the same pattern, use the pattern, and create new patterns that could help your business or your organization to grow, to scale, to renew, to expand, so that you can reorganize and then soar, so that you can build the right systems that you need in order for your business to continue to create the legacy that you have seen.
All right, now, so mentorship and it mentioned mentorship and
coaching and
So
sponsorship.
my question is, coaching and mentorship quite different.
Yes.
Whoever you are getting to coach you and whoever you're getting to mentorship, should they necessarily be in that same field as the entrepreneur, or they could be in any other field? For mentorship, for instance, must the person who's mentoring you be in the same line of business with you, or it's just someone who has attained a certain level of financial success?
I recommend someone in your industry. I recommend that. You can learn from everyone. Okay, but if you want to build something that is sustainable, something that is something that will create the legacy that you want, look for someone who has done it in that same industry. And here is the advantage: you can get direct answer from them because they know exactly what they've done wrong, and they can tell you, "Don't go that way.
Don't go that way.
I was there." All right, that's a mentor. Direct answer. A coaching could be different. Because a coach does not have to be in your industry. I've coached many people who are not in my industry, of course, because a coach is a guide. A coach is not the one who provides the answer. And that's why the skill set is important in level 2 leadership. You are not providing an answer. You are asking the right question so that they can think and create the answers. For example, there is a system I call 131 that I use in our organization. It's a delegation system and it's a coaching system that helps everyone to start thinking strategically. Without you providing the answers, they become the answers. So they're not coming to you as with all their problems, but they are coming with solutions. 131, one problem, 3 viable solutions, and 1 recommendation. So one of my managers, very long time, probably 5 years ago, came to me and said, "Sir, there's a problem." I said, "Fantastic, sit down. I want to teach you something today. 131. And after teaching you, you need to start using the same system for everyone that you lead. And that's how to scale systems within organizations. Teach what you know, use it practically, and help them to also use it so that it goes across the organization. Okay. So 131 for all my leaders. Number one, you've come with this problem. Could you please go back and think about 3 viable solutions, okay? And then come back with 1 recommendation. Can I surprise you? This man came back the second day because he told me, he said, sir, this will take me 2 days, all right? But he returned the second day and he came back with powerful recommendations. I asked for 1. He came back with 2. And I was surprised because the recommendations he gave, actually, they were better than what I was thinking.
Oh,
he gave better ideas. I wouldn't have thought about what he brought. And that helped us to actually increase that capacity and even increase our revenue because of those ideas.
Okay. So what I want to just say now is, in rounding up, what do you say to the budding Nigerian, Rwandan, Ghanaian, Senegalese, Kenyan entrepreneur who probably is at that first level and is finding it difficult to go to the second level? Maybe you say a word of what they need to do at this point in time. Most especially, he has asked the question about financing. When the bank is telling you, we need collateral for this, and you don't have it, and they want to move to the next level, and that could just be the deciding factor.
Absolutely. Thank you very much for that. I'm going to encourage everyone that is watching me right now, wherever you are in Africa, to move to the second level or to increase your capacity. Number one, increase your network. Increase your network so that you can increase your net worth. Here is why this is very critical. I mentioned sponsorship. It's important to be in the right room because efficiency is different from effectiveness. Many times, many founders and entrepreneurs, they are efficient but not effective. They are just managing processes. They are running the race. They are hustlers. And that's okay to start from there. But you can't stay there if you want to grow and scale. You need to start going to the right room, being in the right environment, asking the right questions, and talking to the right people. For example, it is very strategic to ask for help. Don't just sit there. In our culture, people just want to figure things out themselves. Ask for help and go to the right room. Submit yourself to a mentor, because you can actually get into the midst of mentors, whether by paying to be in the room or by serving to be in the room.
Great.
And that's why I want to encourage every entrepreneur who wants to move to the second level. Think about sponsorship. Think about increasing your net worth. Very critical. And then submit to mentors. Submit to mentorship is very critical. Serve someone. Learn from them. Get all their materials. That's why I write books. We're going to release a book in July, on July 26th. Lead and Scale is the title of the book. I believe that this book is going to change. It's going to change the business world. And why am I writing this book? I'm writing it because we want to launch it during our summit we have coming up July 26th. Of course, Scalable Leadership Summit here in Lagos at Marriott. And it's very critical for businesses to have this understanding that they have to think about creating the legacy, but you need to think sponsorship, you need to think mentorship, and you need to think coaching in order to scale yourself, become the leader that you really want to be, and then to build the organization that you have seen.
Thank you so much. That is Mr. Wale. I'll call him Dr. Wale Adekanla, scalable leadership expert, international speaker, and executive coach who has helped businesses grow sustainably across multiple African countries and indeed the globe. Thank you so much for your time with us this morning on Just Africa.
Thank you for having me.
And this is where we draw the curtain on the program. Many thanks for watching. I'm Oyinpriye Krumale.
And I am
Afrobeats is a classic overnight success.